everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. And today we're going to be talking about all the Julie Andrews films that nobody remembers. Who else heard Julie was going to be in Aquaman? Personally, I never thought she'd make another movie. I think I mentioned that in one of my earlier videos. And that if she did, it would probably be voice work. But while her role in Aquaman, where she plays Karathen, I'm hopeless at pronunciations, we all know that, is voice work, it is still the last thing I would have expected her to do. The absolute last. So yeah, that means I'm going to see a DC movie soon. I don't think I've ever done that before. I mean, I was dragged to some of the Avengers movies with my family, but I've never gone out willingly to see one. It's interesting how much Julie changes my life. What's the bet it's going to be one tiny scene and then she vanishes for the rest of the movie? I mean, I went and saw Despicable Me 3 because she was in it, and it turned out that I'd seen the entirety of her scene just by watching interviews and video clips on YouTube. Oh well, at least I like Minions. So who knows how big this movie will be in terms of her career. I imagine it won't be too big. But today we're going to talk about the movies that are really forgotten. Now, some of these I have mentioned before, and that's probably because they fit exactly into this criteria of virtually forgotten. So let's get started. So the first one I'm going to talk about is The Man Who Loved Women. The title's pretty self-explanatory, and I haven't seen it for a while, but it follows very much of the Blake biopic formula. It's set by the beach, probably LA. I think they're all set in LA. There's family cameos, girls with little to no clothing on, and Julie plays herself. A little less than she does in the other ones, but there's still a lot of real-world inspiration in it. So in the movie she plays a therapist for Burt Reynolds, and given the title of the film, you can probably guess what happens between them. But as you can also probably guess from the title, there's a lot more to it for him. So the film just follows him and all the women he comes in contact with. Classic Blake. So obviously Julie's not the protagonist, even though she is the leading lady. But how many people actually remember this one? Yeah? No? No? Comment if you have heard of it. In fact, comment if you've heard of any of these. So she made The Man Who Loved Women in 1983, so we're going to skip forward almost a decade to 1992 when she made A Fine Romance. I actually remember reading somewhere, I think it was a comment on Facebook, about how this movie feels like a Blake Edwards picture. And yes, in a lot of ways it does. But it's not. It's an Italian film, and if you've watched one of my other videos, I honestly can't remember which one, maybe I mentioned it in two, you'll know that Italian movies mess with my head. Singing Princess was also an Italian movie, but it's not really Italian in the same way. You know, because it's animated and it's about Alibaba. And yes, A Fine Romance isn't Italian in the same way that The Conformist or La Dolce Vita are Italian. It's in English and it's not set in Italy. But our main male lead is Italian. He's actually the same guy from La Dolce Vita, Marcello Mastroianni. I had to watch La Dolce Vita for school a couple of years ago, and I had no idea what was going on. Thankfully, A Fine Romance isn't quite that bad, but it still confuses me. So the premise of this film is that Julie finds out her husband is having an affair with Marcello's wife. So they kind of get together and stuff happens. As I said, confusing. But I will say what happens, especially at the end, is not quite what you'd expect. So next on the list is Our Sons. This movie was made for TV, which probably virtually guarantees that it's not as well remembered. But in it, Julie plays Hugh Grant's mother. Yes, that's lots of fun. Hugh Grant's character, whose name escapes me, is gay and has been in a very long relationship with another man, who is now dying from AIDS. Now Julie has always been very supportive of her son and his sexuality, but his partner's mother on the other hand is a different story. But since he's dying, Donald's mother, see, I remembered his name, comes out rather begrudgingly to see her son, and over the course of the movie she and Julie bond. So she opens up and comes to terms with the fact that her son is gay, and Julie realises she's probably a bit more prejudiced than she thought she was, and the three of them, that being Julie and Margaret, who's playing Donald's mother, and Hugh Grant, work their way through all of this. It's a pretty heavy story, but I bet you didn't know that 5 minutes ago. So those are probably some of the least remembered Julie movies, but there are a few more I want to talk about. I would say Duet for One is more remembered, but it's probably not the first movie that pops into your head when you think Julie Andrews. Even though, in my opinion, it is the best performance she's ever done. I talked a bit about it in my Unpopular Julie Opinions video from a few months ago, but in a nutshell, Julie plays a world-famous violinist who has multiple sclerosis, and her life seems to be falling apart, and it's about how she deals with all that. Another pretty heavy topic. So those movies were all made in the 1980s and 1990s, but now we're going to go back to before Mary Poppins back. So I'll go in chronological order with these ones. So first we have The Singing Princess. This was the first film she ever made back in 1952 when it was dubbed into English, and as I said earlier, it's the story of Ali Baba, but it's an Italian film. What? I don't get it either. Then next, from 1956, we have High Tour. Once again, I've mentioned this one a couple of times. Bing Crosby owns a mountain, Julie plays a dead Dutch girl, hijinks ensue, it's bizarre. But even though this was her introduction to film and television and the screen and all that jazz, it wasn't that big. If I'm remembering correctly, it only received kind of lukewarm reviews. And I'd say the biggest reason for all of that is because it wasn't just a TV movie. It was a TV movie inside a TV show. It aired on the TV show Ford Star Jubilee, and although they released a soundtrack about a year ago, it has never been released on DVD. It is available online, link in the down below. And now the final film. I'd say this is definitely the most forgotten one. It's a TV movie, like so many of the others I've mentioned. It was a live broadcast, it was never released on DVD, and it might not even exist in its entirety on film. And that is The Gentle Flame. Seriously, what limb do I have to give up and what organ do I have to donate to see this movie? I read this huge entire blog post on Tumblr about it, link in the down below. Probably written by the only person who knows more about Julie than I do. I'm never going to claim that I know everything, but I probably shouldn't brag, but I sing way too much Hamilton. The sad thing is I don't actually know all the words to my shot. I know all the words to Guns and Chips though. But we're not here to talk about Hamilton, we're talking about Julie. If you want to see me sing Hamilton, check out the video from last week. The point is, I know a lot, but this Tumblr contains stuff that I had no idea about. And that's where I got most of the information about it I just told you. It was aired as the final episode of a 4-part TV series Julie was doing at the time. It's a musical version of The Little Match Girl, and Julie's character's name is Trissa. And that's it. I know nothing about the plot of The Little Match Girl or The Gentle Flame, so I can't tell you what the overlap is, or really anything. As I said, you actually might not be able to watch it. High Tour was never released on DVD, but it is available online. The Gentle Flame doesn't even get that far. And because of all that, I'd say it's the undisputed, least remembered Julie Andrews movie. So that's my personal list of all the forgotten Julie Andrews movies. Let me know if you think there's a movie that should be on this list that I didn't put on the list, or one that's on the list that you don't think should be here. And have you seen any of them? And what did you think? Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!